From Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment capital of the world, I'm David Gabry, and this is the Vegas Faces Podcast, where we talk with Las Vegas locals about what it's really like to live in the City of Lights. Whether you're living in Vegas, moving to Vegas, or just visiting Vegas and looking for new adventures, together let's discover the hidden gems that make Sin City the most visited place on earth. Hey guys, welcome back to Vegas Faces, where we talk to the people who make Las Vegas the most visited place on the planet. I'm your host, David Gavry. I'm a Vegas local who loves to share what it's like to live in the entertainment capital. Quick shout out to producer Paul behind the scenes, and special thanks to comedian Tom Garland, who helped make this happen. Tom is one of the Vegas Faces. Check him out, episode 37, on what it's like to be a Vegas entertainer. This week's topic is pro wrestling. We have two kick-ass guests today, filmmaker and documentarian Joe Clarke and WWE Hall of Famer Rob Van Dam. These guys first teamed up to create Rob Van Dam's documentary, Headstrong, which is fantastic. Go watch it. And then you got to watch their latest documentary, Sabu, where they go behind the scenes of Sabu's final wrestling match, which he won at the age of 60. And it happened in no other place than right here in Las Vegas. Sadly and tragically, Sabu passed away shortly after. And this film truly honors the late, great wrestling legend. And we're going to talk all about it. Rob, Joe, welcome to Vegas Faces. Thank you for being here. I watched Sabu last night. You guys really made something special. What was the pressure like in making a documentary about such an icon?
You want to take that, Joe?
Sure, yeah.
Thanks for having us, all that stuff.
Appreciate it. Yeah, this is fun. It was his story. I don't feel like has ever been told in a really cinematic way, and so Rob and I, we both wanted to do a documentary on him, and we didn't know Sabu wanted a documentary on himself, though. You know, we knew that. I think like Dark Side, they attempted to do something with him, but we wanted this to be the most authentic Sabu representation, just in terms of who he was as a person. And the pressure was there, but at the same time, he made it easy because he's so honest himself. So once we got rolling, I feel like things organically took care of themselves.
Yeah, for me, no pressure, because he's my brother, and I feel like I know him in a total different way than other people know him. And, there's still room for big lights and big crowds and cover his whole career, following the Sheik from being young to everything he accomplished, being the worldwide star that he became. But this really isn't about that. This is really about looking at the guy at this point in his life. Actually, he made it to 61. A lot of misinformation is out there. A little small thing, but he did it all, and you can see that by looking at him. He wears his experience in his aura. So it's great that it's so raw, uncensored, real. It's about the man, and you get to see, how Sabu feels about the business, how he feels about the fans. And, with the timing of it, he couldn't have done it any different time. He wanted to have this last match, and that was going to be the idea of the documentary for him, was training, his life leading up to this last match. By the time he got there, he was feeling a little better. He was a little bit more motivated. But at the same time, there was a lot of foreshadowing where he was hinting that he might be done with this story, and it was crazy. But just a little while before that, he was like severely depressed after losing his wife / girlfriend, Melissa. She died right there in front of him, and the guy was so floored by it, so affected by it. He didn't make it to my wedding, and he just lived, a couple miles from where where it was, but I understood that. I knew where his head was at, and so during the longest time, he never would have said, "Sure, let's have a camera follow me." At this point in my life, because he wasn't in a good place in his life, but he was making the most of it, which you see in every which way. Trying to do what he could with what he had, and you'll see that when it comes to that, he does it a little different than the rest of us, and that's both entertaining and also really awesome to capture.
Because he was such a private, guarded type of guy, I'm fascinated by how did he trust you? How did you gain his trust to capture him in such a candid way, to really get the human side of him?
I still ask myself that question. I think, like Rob said, I think it was just the right timing, and in some ways, and Rob describing his grief with Melissa. Melissa was also his motivation. I feel like that he would hear her basically tell him that she inspired him after the fact to continue to do one last match, and he wanted to have that be like his big moment. And so she was a big inspiration for him. And I was just super honest with the angle of how I pitched him the idea of, I think his story is really important because pro wrestling has its stigmas and certain people don't understand it. And I grew up in an environment where a lot of people in my life didn't understand what it was. So I knew that Sabu would be the perfect surrogate, kind of bridge that gap to give people a fuller understanding of what professional wrestling is and the sacrifices that these legends have to make and had made. And so, yeah, that was I wanted this to be a badge of honor for wrestling fans, to show non-wrestling fans, to explain why they're so interested in this, crazy world.
And with his unfortunate passing, the timing of it, did that just raise the pressure even more to really make this as close to perfect as you could possibly make it, knowing that it happened before it was even released?
Absolutely, yeah. I think I still relive the entire experience. It was so surreal, and I feel like I'm still processing it, even today. It's just such it's a fever dream, and I still remember the day that Rob texted me when it happened and whatnot, and that was an intense day, and but at the same time, I look back on it, and Sabu seemed to be foreshadowing. He seemed that he kind of knew, and I feel like in some ways, the wrestling match and even the documentary was a big motivator for him to keep going. And but yeah, I knew that was an opportunity to make a really great story and pay tribute to his legend and legacy, and so I really wanted to deliver with that, and I think Rob and we did.
Yeah, there is still that pressure, if you want to call it that, like a lot of people haven't seen it. We're still, it's important to us that people like it, and especially, like his family. We all got even closer, obviously, through Sabu's funeral services, and for those, his sisters, his brother, people that are close to him. We hope that they will be proud of what we did, because it is very personal. Like if Sabu had any complaints about it, he would say maybe that it's a little too personal, but he knew the camera was rolling. You know what I mean? So it's not like we crossed any lines when it comes to that. It's just that when it comes out, there's a lot of stuff that some people would have chose to cut out, and it's in there because we want you to know the Sabu that we all know. Those of us that really had him in our lives. We know this is who we're bringing you.
Yeah, it's interesting that over the course of about a year and a half when we were filming, I'd run into either Sabu fans, wrestling fans, or wrestlers, and they would ask like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And we would say, "Oh, we're making a documentary on Sabu." And immediately, when you think of Sabu, the character, just the mythology, your imagination goes to, "Oh, that's going to be a crazy documentary." And in some ways, I was like, I knew that people's imagination would go there, and so it'd be like, "Oh, wow!" Like, not that you have to deliver the craziness, but there's just no way that you would be able to live up to that hype. And what's interesting about the film is it's pretty insane. I feel like we did capture Sabu's essence inside and outside the ring. And so when people first heard about this, I remember specific reactions. Like I saw Elias in the airport one time, and he's like, "You're making a documentary on Sabu?" Like he gave us. I saw everything in his eyes. Like that's going to be nuts, and it is.
No, it really was. And what's special about it is that it's not necessarily only for the wrestling diehards. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not a wrestling diehard. Like, I respect wrestling, but I couldn't name all the names the way our producer Paul can. And what was interesting, I watched it with my mom. My mom's in town. I was like, "Hey, Mom, come watch this. We're doing a podcast tomorrow. Watch this documentary with me." I was expecting her to be like, "All right, I'm going to go upstairs after like 5 minutes." She stayed the whole way through. We were both glued to the TV. We were just like, "Wow, like what happened with this?" And I wonder how this unfolded. Like we were, it's captivating whether you're a wrestler fan or not. I think.
What did your mom think of it?
She liked it. Being the empath that she is, she was sad for him. We were both sad for him, really. Like we saw that he.
I still cry every time I watch it.
Yeah, I mean,
it is emotional. It's emotional, and that's we weren't trying to hide that. That's part of being real close and personal. And Sabu was an emotional guy too.
Yeah, and it just like all the way back from his backstory with his abusive father, and then up until the passing of his wife, it was just like, man, this poor guy just seemed to not get a break, but he dealt with it the way that as best as he could, and so in a way, I feel like his death is like he's finally at peace. Where I just think poor guy, was tortured.
Yeah, he told me 30 years ago, back in 96, 97, when wrestlers started dropping left and right. And then, we were in that party atmosphere. And I right away backed away from it. As naive as it sounds and is, I really didn't know how dangerous that was, eating a bunch of strange pills every day, that someone hands us, and a lot. We had muscle relaxers and mix it with alcohol, whatever. This was the ECW days. Anything was there for you if you wanted to experiment with it, and we did. And my friend Louis Spicoli died, I guess it was 97, and, that's ended my Soma usage. But Sabu, he took that death-defying moniker to a whole new level, not just in the ring, but a lot of times out of the ring. A lot of people that actually knew him helped carry him out of places several times. Fans seen him sometimes get carried away in a gurney to the ambulance or whatever, and that was part of him. And man, so long ago, almost 30 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever, he's like, "I know you're scared that I'm going to die, but I'm not. I'm stronger than everybody else," which sounds like, BS at first, but man, eventually I was like, I think he's right. He just kept going and going and going and never changing, just Sabuing it all the way. And so I actually stopped worrying about him and thought, he's definitely going to do it his way, either way. But man, I was surprised, now I'm left with, where'd he go and why? Why did he leave? But, that's part of always dealing with the lost.
And the fact that wrestling is just so brutal, like, people outside of wrestling, they're quick to go, "Oh, it's all staged, blah, blah, blah." But the moves that you guys do, the stunts that you do, all that's real. The injuries, like people talk about the NFL, like, "Oh, they've got to play hurt. They got to play hurt if they want to have a good game." But it's like, I feel like wrestlers, you guys, I think you just live with the pain. Like you're obviously performing while in pain. I think that's just the protocol. I think that's just the norm. And so to be able
Yeah,
to live with that is wild.
yeah, and Sabu is among the last of the old school wrestlers who um, stopping the match doesn't even cross our minds. You know, it's not even something we consider. A lot of that's changing because wrestling is changing. It's becoming more of like a safe work environment or whatever. They've cut out a lot of rough edges. When when it comes to this subject, it used to be a lot more competitive. Like in Japan, when I was really young over there, the guys would beat the crap out of me. That was part of learning. Now, there might be a lawsuit or something if they did that. Just the way it's changing so much, but that was part of it, though. We would try and outdo each other. Me and Sabu, one time we were tagging in Japan with against a couple of Japanese guys, Akiyama and I think it was Amori. And anyway, Sabu, he trained me, right, and he was my everything. So whatever he said to me, I was like a soldier, and I was like, boom, done. If whatever he says was just at that point in my career, whatever he said, I was just fact. I would do. Anyway. He calls me before the match, to have a 2-person meeting, and he was saying, those guys want to outshine us because one of us was going to go on to be the tag team champions, and we knew that. And we were the top two, and this is how competitive it was. Sabu said, let's not let them tag a lot. Let's get one of them and keep them in our corner. And like if every time he tries to escape to go to his corner, like even if you're outside, reach in and grab his leg if you can. Let's keep doing moves and covering him and covering him and tagging in and out, and let's tire him out and not let them get away. And those guys were saying the same thing about us. That was how the game was done back then. We did want to outshine them and look better than them, and that was part of it that fans would have no idea, because the term scripted has become more of a reality now than it ever was.
And isn't that where like the term kayfabe comes from? Like if you want to touch on that a little bit and how I guess maybe
Yeah,
before the internet was a thing, it was easier to conceal what was staged and what was improvised and whatnot. But now in the age of the internet, everything's out.
yeah. When I got into the wrestling business in '89, it was like the end of an era of kayfabe. It was still very much around. First thing I got taught was the number one rule in the business is to protect the business always. And that means with your wrestling, you don't show any gaps. That means with your words. That means you don't have anybody in the dressing room that's a buddy of yours that's in town that's not in the business. And for the first several years that I was in, it was that was still the rule. It was like it was a closed door society. We were like, I mean, relating it to the mafia, kayfabe was our omerta. It was you don't expose the business because it's just going to bring the business down, damage it, and take food out of everybody's mouth. So Sabu, so many times I seen him chasing people out of the dressing room. There was one building, it was either Queens, the Elks Lodge, or it was in Boston. I could see it being both, but I think it was Queens where there was a kitchen, and to go from the kitchen to the concession stand, there was a shortcut through the dressing room. And this poor guy, every time we had a show there, he'd have this big plate tray full of hot dogs trying to make it through the dressing room because someone told him to do that. And Sabu would get pissed at him and kick the shit out of him. You know, he would take the plate. Hey, didn't I tell you don't belong back here? Don't you ever come back here again? And he'd have the guy against the wall. And he was doing that because that's how it used to be done, protecting the business. His uncle, the Sheik, you know, was his role model, and he never ever broke kayfabe. Even around me when he was training me, you know, like it wasn't. He just stayed like really intimidating and always put protecting the business first. But yeah, Sabu did that so many times. We felt sorry for the guy, but it was at that time where like the other guys in ECW that were younger and newer, they weren't taught the way we were, so they were kind of, you know, like helping the hot dog guy out more, you know, like here, helping him, you know, here, come with me, I'll walk you through. And they didn't understand, but times were just changing right there in front of our eyes.
Wow. Yeah, like in the doc, you guys covered a lot of Sabu's vices and demons, and, you know, negative stuff, but also positive. And I want to know to both of you, what are some positives from Sabu that you apply to both your lives, whether work life or personal life?
Well, I always tell both Rob and Sabu that they're the two most honest people I've ever met in my life. Like, you can ask them anything at any time, and you know 100% that it's going to be their truth, and there's going to be nothing else around it. And that's something I actually really appreciate, and I strive to do. I think just authenticity has become such a important thing, and they both radiate that, where they're 100% themselves at all times. There's no performance on top of it, which you could argue kind of has something to do with kayfabe. You know, I feel like Sabu, when he was protecting it, kicking over the hot dog guy, that was him actually being him protecting his, you know, his livelihood and his business as well. So that was something and then honestly, just I think like storytelling, like Sabu both in and out of the ring, like it was so fun to just be able to pick his brain and ask him questions about the business, because like I said, I knew that he was going to tell me exactly what it was. Even if it was his perspective, it was still interesting to always get complete honesty out of someone.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I share his perspective on the wrestling business when it comes to in ring psychology, and we both agree if we're critiquing a match or pointing out things that could be done different or better. I feel like we both agree. I feel like I'm now, like, that's kind of my duty, obligation, is to carry on the word of the Sheik, because Sabu had Sheik's proxy. Either one of them, if they told me something, it was going to be the same, consistent, and in the spirit of the Sheik, you know. So I'm so glad that I got trained that way, for the differences that it made in my understanding of the business and how it made me different, you know. I quote Sabu all day, like things that he would say, because he was a bit more of a teacher than anything else, you know. Like he would talk at you a lot of times, feeling like he's enlightening you with things, you know, like when his dog came up to him, you know, and he said, they live for three things: attention, exercise, and food. It's just like, boom, like, okay, it is so. And I thought about that, and I still do, and I'm like, he's right. I guess that's what all dogs like. That's what I try to give my dog more attention after that really sucked in. When he saw Lovey, or I'm sorry, Barbie here. She's a Brussels Griffin. They get mistaken for pugs a lot, but she's got the upside down smile, and you know she's this kind of dog. When the first time Sabu saw her, we were out by the pool here, and Barbie came out And he goes, "Who's that?" And I said, "That's Barbie." And he looked at her and he goes, "You're ugly and you're beautiful."
Yeah.
Just a total no bullshit kind of guy.
Yeah,
100%, 100%. And that's I feel like I've taken that away. Now I feel like Sabu used to say that to Rob. It was like he'd always be on the lookout for BS, and I see that now in life in a weird way where I'm like, I think Sabu would think that's a BS thing, and I'm at the Wendy's drive-thru and they're ripping me off or something.
Yeah.
Like when I was super young and training and just starting out to have my first few matches, Sabu said, if the promoter ever says that he's gonna make you champion and give you a belt, or you can have more money, take more money. Tell him you'd rather have more money than the belt because you can't eat the belt.
And that's a good lesson because me and Paul, we come from the comedy world, the stand-up comedy world, where you get kind of suckered into, oh, hey, we can't pay you, but the exposure, you're going to get a lot of exposure out of this. And you kind of fall for that, especially when you're a no-name and you're just hungry for any opportunity you can get. You go, okay, I guess I'll take the exposure. And the next thing you know, 10 years goes by and you haven't made any money. That's really sage and solid advice for a business that really won't pay you until they have to pay you.
Right. It's true. All his advice was good. Pretty much. There's always exceptions, but that's how he was, though. Always willing to lend a piece of knowledge.
What did you guys think of the controversy surrounding the last match? There's a lot of, people on the internet saying, "Oh, he shouldn't have even done it," or maybe forced to doing it, and trying to a negative angle.
I laughed the whole thing off, the whole controversy, because, breaking it down, it was one silly false claim after another, saying that he didn't want to do it. Of course he wanted to do it, but saying he couldn't even walk, you see it in the movie. Joe's there with the camera before his match. The infamous kratom. The only guy that I see giving him kratom in the whole movie was RVD. And and Sabu loved kratom. He would have had it on him, but they were saying that GCW forced them this, and everyone is demonizing kratom because they don't know what it is. So it's getting, it's going through its own reefer madness stage now, where everyone's doing podcasts saying, "I looked it up. This is bad. It's worse than heroin." No, it's not. It's not. It's a lot safer than opiates. It's in the coffee plant family. It's a dried up leaf that's crumbled into a powder, and it does find your opiate sensors in your brain, and it's great for pain, great for sleeping, pretty good for anxieties, But anyway, all the claims one by one. His feet, people are like, "Oh my God, he had to super glue his feet together because they were all cracked open." I laugh at that. I mean, didn't he just need a pedicure? That's what I see. Like, if he had a pedicure, his feet would be smooth. He did super glue it. There's no way he felt it through that dead skin, and there's no way that had anything to do with him walking or making it through that match. So personally, I just laugh at all of it, and I thought that he did well. And the word was right after his match, the word around WrestleCon and around Vegas for a couple of days. No, it was not a disappointment. I was told that so many times. Fans loved the match. Sabu was like, "Yeah, I can do better though. I want to wrestle you. I want to do this and this." And then after he died, everything changed. And people were like, "He should not have been in the ring. He was too old and he didn't want to do it." And all that, that negative cloud hit after he passed. And it was all a bunch of BS, in my opinion.
If, Twitter X, the wrestling IWC was in effect during 1995 ECW, I feel like every single show would have controversy times a million over like, did you hear what happened backstage here and here? And it's like that was also a completely different culture at that point. But it's like Sabu supergluing things. I feel like is one of the things he's known for.
Right. Right.
That's literally my dad. Anytime old school, hardworking guy, he gets injured on the job, super glues it, goes right back to work. Doesn't think twice.
Yeah, it's great. Sabu taught me that, and I'm always, if I get busted open during a match, everyone's like, "No, no, you need stitches." I'm like, "No, I don't, dude. I've been doing this for a few years. Get away from me." Yeah, I hate getting stitches. If you don't need
That's
them,
so
why
wild.
get them? Yeah.
That's so wild. What was the Vegas connection? Is it just because it's Vegas, have the last match in Vegas? Did he have a personal connection with Vegas? And why did he choose his last match to be here in Vegas?
Do you know, Joseph?
He loved Las Vegas. He actually told me he was trying to move to Venice Beach, and then COVID put him on a sidetrack here with Melissa, and then he just instantly fell in love with it. And because WrestleMania was in Las Vegas last year, it just happened to be a great happy accident that GCW also ran their story with him as well. So, kind of with the whole movie, I'm just like completely shocked at how the dots came together and just it sounds like dark and weird to say this, but like how it played out was perfect in a way. Even like you said, like Sabu now is kind of in peace, I feel like, and he was going through a lot of physical pain and emotional pain, but he loved Las Vegas.
He did. He was always trying to get me to come out, and I'm not much of a street guy anymore. I'm a homebody, so I look back at so many messages over the last 6 months or so of him saying, come on, we're going out, we're gonna shoot some footage of the doc and go to the nerd. Can you meet us, please? Come on. Actually, it's weird because he started saying we might not have much time, left and weird stuff like that. And I brushed it off, thinking, wow, you going somewhere? And, stuff like that. He said, no, you never know. We need to get together. We might be running out of time. And I have those messages on my phone now. So it's weird. But
I think that relates to the controversy as well. Is he's pretty prophetic in the statements that he makes, and even from the very beginning, I feel like he was completely comfortable with his destiny, and the match and even telling a story was kind of him riding off in the sunset. I know that death can be like a dark topic, but I think he was a very spiritual person, and he was accepting of his future in a lot of ways.
Exactly what you said about, yes, it's dark and it's sad and it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's beautiful. And especially coupled in the doc with those shots of the desert and just his, like you said, his spirituality. It seems like if he was still around today, how do you think he would react to your documentary if he was able to watch it?
I think that he would like it. Knowing Sabu, I could see him always wanting more. Like I'm sure he's probably talking to Joe about extending it already to cover more matches and stuff, because he was telling me that he might want to work me. He told Fonzie that they were talking about doing a tour in Japan, and he was motivated at the same time that he was letting everybody know that he's also ready to go if it's his time. And hearing him say that makes it easier to deal with. I think that he would like it. I think he would like what we did with it, and but I don't think he would like to watch himself, really. You know what I mean? I don't enjoy watching myself that much. Like when I do a movie or something, I might watch it once, maybe twice. Maybe or not, depending on what it is. But I don't like rewatch or re-listen to myself, and I could see him being a critic of himself and being concerned with how he came out. But we would have to tell him, dude, you know, you're the man, and you know, you came out fine, and it's okay to, you know, like I said, he knew the camera was rolling, so he was a little bit exposing when it comes to, you know, everything, his processes, his thoughts. It was very personal, but he can't, you know, can't blame us for using the stuff he gave us, you know. So um, I think he would understand that, and I think that he would. I don't know. I think he. I don't know. I think he would like it. You know. I don't think he would like leaving everybody like he did on a sad note. But 95% of it was done. You know, and then he passed. So all there was to left pretty much was his funeral services.
Yeah, what's interesting is I feel like you said, building that trust with him, that actually was, I would say, about a 5 or 6, maybe a 7th month phase of him kind of getting comfortable. And he always joke around with me, being like, "You're invading my life, you know, like you're intruding on me right now." And then as we got going, I would try and get him excited, and I would show him different shots that we were doing. And I saw him in real time start to buy in and be like, "Oh, this is like a Hollywood movie. This is awesome." And he started getting more and more revved up. And I think even in some ways, he was kind of working me, and he kind of saw what I was doing. And I think he kind of leaned into the craziness a little bit, where he would say like, "Oh, give me doing this now. Ooh, look at me." He was like a little kid in a sandbox, you know. There's already, I feel like, a very infamous scene in a hotel room where he wakes up in a certain way, and I think that was his way of performing. And I've had like friends of his tell me like that was him showing off and stuff, where it's a crazy scene, but that was him kind of leaning into the documentary in a lot of ways and committing to it. And yeah, in the very beginning, he did not. I feel like it was kind of pulling teeth, and by the end, I was the one who was like, "Okay, I think we're done with this movie," and he was like, "No, no, we got to do part two. Part two's in Japan. We got a barbed wire match in Japan." I was like, "Oh shoot, dude, we're going to Japan now."
No, that's awesome. I mean, he was a true performer. Like he threw himself into the performance, didn't leave anything else. He put it all out there, and you know, for better for worse. I mean, he really put it all into his art. So props to you guys for capturing that, and kudos to Sabu for being one of the few who actually do that. Most people hold back a little bit. This guy did it all, and like you said, he's ready. He's ready to go again, which is so insane. But you know, that's how you know he truly loved it. I want to bring in producer Paul. He's got a couple of questions. Paul, you still there?
I'm right here. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, thanks so much for doing this show. You've been great. One question I have for both of you is, Joe, clearly a talented filmmaker. You have two great documentaries here that I've seen. It's just really great. Enjoyed it. Looking forward to hearing more about your process of doing this. And then Rob, you have this great career. Watched it since I was a kid. I think it's awesome. All the way to the WWE Hall of Fame and beyond. I'm wondering with both of you, there was a day when you decided to go into the entertainment world, into producing things that people can watch and enjoy and benefit from. But you didn't know where it was going to go. Entertainment, there's no guarantees. You have to do it, on your own and see where things go. I'm wondering where that confidence came from both of you from day one when you started. Joe, when you were like, I'm going to begin doing these projects. I'm going to take this on. I can do this. And Rob, the same thing. There was a day before you became, where you are now, and even before you booked your first match. Where did that confidence come from both of you? I'm kind of wondering.
I've been wanting to make movies since I was a little kid. I've been making movies since I was like 10 years old. And in a crazy way, it's when I first started the Sabu project, I actually was at a rock bottom moment myself. I just crashed and burned in LA, and I was working at Circus, living with my mom. I was dealing blackjack. My life was like a disaster zone. And so I was looking for a way, for a story, for something to really commit and throw all of my energy and passion, because I'd made a few other feature films before. And that, I think Sabu kind of resonated with that. We both kind of had chips on our shoulder. We both wanted to prove something, and we were both meeting at this synchronistic point in our lives that I think brewed the chemistry necessary to really make something special. And so when I look at Rob's career, I'm super intimidated because, you know, I'm 37 now. By the time he was 37, he was already a legend. And so I'm still a nobody making my way through this. But in some ways, because I haven't clicked through, I feel like it pushes me further and further to keep committing in my own crazy, zany Sabu way.
For me, it was something I wanted to do since I was very young. So um, that was good and bad looking at it from the big picture now, just because I was so inexperienced. I mean, right out of high school, I went right into pro wrestling, and you had no experience being on the road or traveling or anything. And, you know, so I was pretty green at life overall. And looking back at it, you know, it was challenging sometimes traveling with a bunch of these big veteran tough guys that were world travelers, and I was really young and influential, but I was probably 15 or so, probably when I started thinking like I wanted to be a wrestler. And you're right. I I mean, you don't know where it's going to take you in the entertainment business, and I was open and still am open, like a bit of an opportunist. You know what I mean? Like I've done a bunch of movies, but at the same time, I probably would laugh to if someone you know asked if I was an actor. It's more of a, you know what I mean? It's not like so. It's not like I got like I just need someone to see me one time and be discovered, and I'm going straight to the top. No, I don't. You know, I don't have that kind of confidence with certain things that I mess around with, but I'm willing to mess around and try different things that interest me. And you know, so that's definitely one of them that I enjoy and have fun with. With wrestling, I happen to have gotten like really good at it. There was a time when I was 19. I thought maybe I'd be a pro kickboxer. And I was training with the Sheik and starting to do some shows around Ohio and Indiana and the Midwest. And he was billing me as coming in as a kickboxer, but I was also kickboxing and thought, you know, well, we'll see what happens. You know, maybe I'll go that way, maybe I'll go that way. And obviously, wrestling really took off for me. And you haven't heard about my singing career yet, and you won't. So, uh,
It's going to be with the career. We're mixing them up.
Well,
yeah,
thank you
Well,
very much. That's the only question I want to jump in here with, and we'll go back to Gary here. Thank you, guys.
yeah.
I want to ping off of Paul's initial question. I'm curious to know, Joe, where did you even get the balls to say I'm going to do a documentary about Rob Van Dam called Headstrong? Because it's not like you took like an amateur wrestler and if it doesn't go well, that's okay. Like you started with a superstar, and if that documentary doesn't go well, like what was that? What were those emotions like to be like, all right, we're going to take a WWE Hall of Famer. I don't know if you'd been inducted yet, but still, you're a superstar. What was that process like creating something like you did with Headstrong?
Well, I'll just kind of connect the dots here. It was actually Tom Garland that introduced us. He kind of put everything together because he was assembling a comedy tour, and he knew that I was a big wrestling mark. He knew Rob was going on the tour, and so he had the wherewithal to kind of connect those dots to put it all together. And so yeah, it kind of started there, and I'm the kind of person that I I have my own craziness, or I think Rob was just bringing me on board to like film him on tour and be like a fun like ride through the life of Rob Van Dam. And I took it to the 10th degree and was like, hey, you just got this concussion, why don't we follow that storyline and commit to this? And what started as a week-long tour ended up a 3-year journey to the film being released. So Rob and I were in the trenches with Headstrong. It's still on Amazon. It still gets well reviewed. I feel like in a weird way, Sabu, people talk about it in tandem with Headstrong. I feel like Sabu is almost a spiritual sequel to Headstrong in some ways.
Yeah.
It definitely goes together because Rob's got that spiritualness with him as well. And what did you go through in Headstrong that helped you make Sabu even better? Like what kind of maybe not necessarily mistakes, but maybe setbacks that you experienced along the way making Headstrong to where you learned from that, and then it really helped you propel and shine in Sabu?
Well, before I started, I said, Rob, leave me alone on the making of this movie. I'm just kidding. So during Headstrong, it is Rob Van Dam. He hired me. He's the producer. It's his image. It's his story. And so naturally, we didn't really know each other that well. So for someone to come into his life and trying to turn things into a tornado for the sake of a story, there was a lot of tug of war in terms of creativity and control there, which I think we both respect each other. I was going to push him, he was going to push me, and that's where you kind of found the magic there. And and so, we were in the trenches with that. We fought frame by frame, and I think we came to a product we're really excited and still proud of that to this day new people are discovering. And years later, I wanted to make another wrestling documentary, and I requested to Rob. I said, "Hey, can I have creative control on this?" And I told this Rob last week, like, for him to have the balls, I think he has the balls to give me the platform and the space and the breather room to kind of flex my voice in that way that I've never been able to have. That I'm in a surreal stage where I'm still processing the death of Sabu, who we were really close by, but this is also, I feel like, my first really good movie in 27 years of making movies. And so I was able to attain that vision, which is pretty damn difficult in the film business. I would say 99% of films that get made, the creator, the filmmaker, has certain walls and parameters, and all the credit to Rob for giving me the space to make the project I want to make.
No, that's awesome, and kudos to Tom Garland, man. He's the one. He's why we're here right now. I mean, he's love that guy. I met him doing comedy in Chicago, and when I moved to Vegas, literally like the second I moved here, my wife, posts something on Instagram. Hey, we live in Vegas now. Within seconds, Tom's like, "You live here? I need you to host my show." And I'm like, "I'm not even off the plane yet." Like, it was awesome, and so kudos to him, man. That's really awesome. Is there a reason, Rob, why you chose Vegas as your place of residence?
Yeah, so I've always loved it since I discovered it. I started wrestling here in '95 at the Silver Nugget Casino up in North Las Vegas for the NWC, and man, I loved it. Those shows were really cool, for that part in my career, to be working with a bunch of ex-WWE guys. I mean, there was Godfather. Who else was there? Virgil, Cactus Jack, of course, Sabu, Honky Tonk Man, Jim Neidhart. There was a lot of fun and well-recognized names for me. It was awesome working with those guys. Andy had TV. I was Aerial Assault with Bobby Bradley Jr. And anyway, that was my intro to Las Vegas, was those shows, and then going out afterwards. The strip clubs, the neon lights, just everything about it. I loved the energy of it. And over the years, I would always come here to, just like everyone else, party for 4 days and then go home and recuperate. But I always man, I love how everything is just so centrally located. We're in the middle of the desert, but just in this little dot, I could be enjoying a fucking Mai Tai with a mist of water on me in a cabana, watching girls, dance in front of a pool. And I'm just like, man, I love it here. People come here with hope, whether they're hoping to do good at the convention, or hope for gambling, or hoping to get laid, or for now it's the it's going to be the sports capital, it's the entertainment capital, it's going to be the movie entertainment capital when they open the studios. And man, I just love it here. And my favorite part is that I'm almost never in my car for 20 minutes.
Fantastic, man. Before we wrap up, Rob, I want to congratulate you. You're going to be a dad soon. I'm curious to know where your mind's at, where your emotions are at. What are you most looking forward to in being a dad?
Well, I'm looking forward to feeling that love, because that's hard for me to imagine what that would feel like, looking in the eyes of a person that I helped create. Like, I don't, I didn't even think that was possible. And it's, for a lot of my life. And then so that's, and to see the way the babies look up at you and like totally depend on you, like you're everything to them. Like, they're completely helpless with that. I'm looking forward to feeling that unconditional love, but also overall, besides that, something else, maybe not quite as important. I'm looking forward to the change up in the monotony. I'm looking forward to my priority list being switched around a little bit and experiencing a little bit more or different sides, different perspectives of life, because I've been like in this spoiled moment since like 2007, after like I left the monotonous full-time schedule of WWE. I was like, I just want to be home, and now it's like I'm home like all the time, and only leave when I want to, and hurry right back as soon as I can. And it'll be cool to have someone else to prioritize around too, besides Katie, and then myself and my doggies. So all of it, it's I'm looking forward to even the pressure that comes with that, because again, breakup of the monotony. Yeah.
No, absolutely. It's going to make you an even better person, a more fuller and fulfilled person. And believe it or not, you're going to grow even more than you've already grown over the years and evolve in ways that you never even thought were possible. So that's going to be a beautiful thing, man. I really sincerely congratulate you on that. And I wanted to ask Joe, how do you feel about your new role as Rob's babysitter soon? How's that going to be like?
I don't know. After your motivational speech, I feel like I gotta start pumping out some kids here. I gotta get some fulfillment in my life going. No, I'm looking forward to being Uncle Joey. We're celebrating. We're doing a cool baby shower this weekend. I think my mom's going, so it's gonna be a fun time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to them being future tag team champions too. So
yeah. All right, guys. Before we close out, tell everyone where to find you, where to find Sabu, all the plugs.
Yeah, so you can find the movie now. It's on kinema.com. That's cinema with a K. It's a really cool new streaming service that Lovey has also been to. Yeah, you just go on there. You can stream it, and people are loving it. I'm really excited. Like I said, it's fun to. Usually, when I make movies, there's pressure because it's like I'm an independent filmmaker, and it's hard to compete with Hollywood, and you always have that insecurity. And I feel like this is the one film where I'm like super proud to push, and I really want people to see it. And like you said, I think non-wrestling fans watching it is going to be the real kicker, because I know the wrestling fans are going to enjoy Sabu and his legacy, but for people that don't know him, that go in to experience for the first time, I think it's going to be really powerful for them. So kinema.com, check it out.
And like you said, Headstrong is on Amazon. He's got another movie to check out. It's not a documentary, called Alta Vista. And dude wrote it, directed it, and he's starring in it. It's amazing. It's really good. He doesn't give that enough credit, but
I love that you plugged that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I recommend you check that out if you want to see some talent.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome, you guys. Props to you guys. Congratulations to both of you. Thank you for being one of the Vegas faces, and I hope to talk to you guys again.
Right on, man. Hope to see you around town. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Cool.
We're all set. We're good.
Job well done, you guys.
Thank you for subscribing to Vegas Faces on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok under the name Gavry Group. That's Gavri Group. Thanks, everybody. See you at the next episode.